It's Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Good Thursday morning, Ryder.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some rain this afternoon. Always puts me in a good mood.
Is that true?
I need things to, get soaked and be wet. Yeah, it's been too dry out.
Okay, all right.
Okay, she needs things to be soaked and wet.
Galoshes on, rain jacket in tow. Come on, man.
Man, okay, that's
Spring is here.
You know what? You do you.
Yeah.
You know, go
Yes.
for it. I'm just looking forward to sunny days. That's me. I never get up and think, you know what would make this day better? Rain.
Yes.
And I understand it
Maybe
helps.
some thunder and lightning.
I understand it helps. What with the spring blooms and the growth and we want the green and the buds and the reds and the yellows and we want all that. But I don't want to have the rain to get, rain at night. How about that? Let's just rain at night.
I think that's the plan.
Handle that while we're sleeping. Then we wake up and it's sunny, and then rain while we're asleep again, and it's all good. However, you and my wife would get along. She said to me yesterday, exact words, I miss thunderstorms.
Yeah.
She was watching Twisters. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm good without tornadoes. I'm fine with that not coming nearby the house. I miss it. Like, okay, you weirdo.
My family, we lived in Los Angeles for 2.5 years. That's all. And that's all it takes to forget about storms. Forget about thunder, forget about rain, everything. When we moved back, first night in the new place, and there was just a boomer summer thunderstorm, and we had a 4 and a 2-year-old, and they were like, what is all that noise? What is that? They had no idea what thunder was.
But did you and Rosemary love it?
No, I was like, why did we leave? Why did we leave the idyllic, non-humid, no mosquito, heaven on earth that is Southern California?
Yep.
But you know what? We can all look back. But why? Why when there's so much going on in the world? I'm feeling Minnesota, which is my way of saying, Paul, what's going on in the world?
Well, summer events in Minnesota perfect lead in, actually, obviously get quite hot. Lawmakers are making sure staying hydrated isn't a luxury. A new proposal at the Capitol would require ticketed events with more than 100 attendees to offer free access to water if they don't already. I think this is a good thing. If passed, it would mandate all qualifying events provide at least one of the following: free bottled water, permission to bring in sealed water bottles, access to refill those who bring empty bottles. The only exemptions would be art galleries, museums, and presentation spaces where beverages are not allowed.
Okay.
I bring my empty water bottle to Target Field every time I go.
Do you?
Do you bring that kegerator that you carry around here? Or?
They won't let me through the gate with that quite yet.
Okay. I
could propose a law.
We need to amend the law so you can bring that giant, it looks like a small atomic bomb is what it looks like.
Me only. Yeah.
I brought my water bottle in today. I was like, why have I been dragging lately? And it's like, oh yeah, it's that confounded water I'm not drinking. God, I can't. I sound like I can't believe that I made it all the way through childhood without ever having one glass of water, and now look at me.
It's amazing how much O gets to your brain and how much it wakes you up when you drink H2O, right?
It's very true.
Researchers in Japan have produced nugget-sized chunks of chicken using animal cells, signaling a breakthrough in lab-grown food production. Lab-grown or cell-cultivated meat has been around for over a decade, offering an animal-based protein option that does not derive from slaughtered animals. There have been successful attempts at this in the past, but they were very, very, very small pieces of chicken. It turns out you need the blood vessels and all that to get the bigger chunks. But now we're getting there. We're on to nuggets.
We got nugget-sized, lab-produced chicken.
Yeah, I'm in favor of this.
You know what? After finding out what goes into those McNuggets we've all enjoyed for 40 years, I have no qualms about it. I'm sure this is a better option.
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. And if you think about we're going to put all these people out of business, don't worry. All the chicken makers now will invest in lab grown if they have to. It'll be fine. Okay. This one, Firefest 2 has been postponed.
Oh my God.
Have they even sold a ticket to this thing yet?
You know what? They've sold at least one. I'll get to that right now. This is according to the organizers. Billy McFarland, do you remember him? He was behind the initial Fire Festival. Was convicted of wire fraud in 2017. McFarland's new event, which was scheduled to take place in Mexico from May 30th to June 2nd, was being advertised under the slogan of Firefest 2 is real. Tickets started at $1,400. A message sent to a ticket holder said, quote, "The event has been postponed and a new date will be announced. We have issued you a refund." Wow, that's progress. Once the new date is announced, at that time, you can repurchase if it works for your schedule. Why is anybody even considering this? That's what I want to know.
I think there's a certain sector of the public that wants to be able to say, I actually went and it did happen, and I wasn't abandoned and I wasn't stuck, and those people need just a host of therapists to come in and help them out.
I might roll the dice if it's a $50 ticket. We're talking about $1,400, and then you have to travel. I'm assuming that the ticket doesn't include travel.
I would imagine it does not. No.
Holy smokes. All right, last but not least, Pringles and Miller Lite have teamed up to give you exactly what you need.
Okay.
New chip flavors. Starting in May, be on the lookout for beer can chicken and grilled beer brat flavored Pringles. The beer can chicken tastes like roasted chicken with notes of garlic and onion, and the beer brat has a grilled brat flavor enhanced with black pepper, caramelized onion, and brown spice.
Okay.
Game on.
How about just make the beer can chicken and drink it and have it with a beer? I don't need my Pringles to do anything but just be simple Pringles. That's me.
Listen, sprinkling chips on food, I think, is pretty fantastic. So if you already are making the beer can chicken, you can sprinkle some chips on top of it.
Yeah, that would be a better option.
Okay, that checks out. All right.
But regular, you want these specific flavors on the beer can chicken? Is that what you're saying?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Seems like it would enhance the flavor profile.
I think that's an admission that this might not be the best beer can chicken.
Correct.
If you're calling in Pringles for backup, you got some culinary, you got some questionable skills in the kitchen.
I'm amazed that we can call Pringles chips, quite honestly.
Sure. There's a
synthetic whatever.
What? You guys aren't fans of the Pringles?
No.
The potato starch that just comes in the tennis ball can?
Oh, I'll eat some Pringles, but I'm not about to say that I don't necessarily believe there's a potato anywhere in that.
No.
That's just paper that they treat with potato sauce.
I mean, just get some oil, some butter, and some salt. Dip a piece of paper in it and eat that.
In the world of sports yesterday, two things happened at Target Field. Most importantly, the Twins pulled out a victory over the New York Mets. That's a 2-game winning streak, and 3 of the last 4 starting to play. Things started to go sideways late in the game. They had a lead, they blew it, but they did not fold. They pitched well. They did what they had to do against a pretty darn good Mets team right now.
Yeah.
After the game, Rocco was excited. He said, "Man, we showed there's no quit. This was a tough game. There was aggressiveness. It was really exciting. It's a nice thing to see a little bit of signs of life from the Twins." However, the bigger story of the game came, 7th inning. Hunter Wendelstedt, not a player, the first base umpire, made the questionable decision to field a line drive with his head.
He shoots that one off Hunter Wendelstedt, and he goes down. Oh, my.
Did it get him in the head?
I think it did. Got him right in the back of the head.
Yeah, he had
just talking the other day.
Just enough time to spin around away from the ball as it ricocheted off his dome. He was down for a few minutes. He did get up and walked off. He was in the hospital. Haven't heard an update since since last night, but apparently he's going to be okay. But man, that is a scary thing.
Yeah, he was just flattened.
I thought about it. Why doesn't that happen more often? I mean, I can't believe it. He's standing there at first base. I've played slow pitch softball and seen somebody at first base get tagged, and you have no chance to get out of the way of a ball that's coming 90 miles an hour at you. It's just a blink of an eye.
And why aren't they wearing helmets? That's another question. Just put a helmet on, man.
That would certainly do. That would have taken care of Wendelstedt yesterday. Shocking, but again, all I thought when I saw it was, I can't believe I've never seen that happen before. Yeah. The Timberwolves are in action this weekend. They're playing the Lakers. Heavy underdogs, as it turns out. With every passing day, the world has decided the Timberwolves have no chance in this series. Anthony Edwards says, "I love the fact everybody wants the Lakers to win. This is fantastic." And in an interview yesterday, he said, "Look, I know last year Dallas came in here and cleaned our clocks after we took care of the Nuggets." He said, "I wasn't ready physically last season by that late in the season. I was out of it. This year, I'm in it. I've maintained my workouts." He's been very focused to make sure he doesn't run out of steam like he did at the end of last year.
Okay.
And at the time, he got a lot of criticism for a young man in his early 20s. How can you be out of energy? It's like, he's like, "Hey, I'm just being honest. I hit a wall, and it happened. It's not going to happen again."
I love this theory that people have that a 21-year-old can't get tired.
Yeah.
Can't get physically exhausted from what they do. I mean, I realize that we romanticize it even more than it maybe needs to be sometimes, but I don't care how well trained you are, how good the nutrition is. Like, you're going to get exhausted at times.
The only mistake he made was admitting it.
Yeah, but to me, it shows that he's a human, and it lets you behind the veil of what's real. That's why I don't have a problem with it.
Finally, this is just for me. Arsenal beat Real Madrid yesterday, and it was glorious. And now we are in the semifinals of the European Championships. I was at the local yesterday. I had a Guinness or 13 to celebrate, and I really celebrated. Oh boy!
I was going to say you kind of have Guinness face this morning.
Oh, it's a Guinness face. I gave myself a little something I call the GLF, the Guinness lead foot. You're just having a good time, and then you stand up and walk to the bathroom. You're like, I can barely walk. It was awesome. Gooners out there, man, the local for those games is fantastic. Burnsville, glad to have you with us this morning. Burnsville, Minnesota. You know what to do with that information. We're thinking of you. I could have used a little help last night. Had a rough night's sleep. That's something we discuss on this show all the time. But thankfully, now, for all of us, maybe it's time to go back to school if you're struggling to get your Z's. We talk about sleep a lot on this show because we don't ever get enough.
That's correct.
And, of course, everybody who's listening to us this early in the morning is probably wishing they were still asleep on generally. I think that's usually what's going on.
Mm-hmm, except for those weirdos that like to be up early.
Well,
they're out there.
There are those people.
Yeah, you looked right at me. That is, can confirm.
Hey, man, I grew up in a house. My dad was a 4 a.m. guy, always. I'd wake up and, I saw my dad asleep, I think, like 3 times in my whole life. And it would be like a quick nap, and sitting in his chair if he dozed off, and then it was just, nobody would move or breathe because you're like, don't wake him up. Like, oh my God, it happened.
Worst thing ever as a child, when we go to Grandma and Grandpa's house on my mom's side, farm in southwest Minnesota.
Okay.
Grandpa, also 4 a.m. guy, would come up the stairs at 5:36, banging on a pan going, family breakfast! And I'm like, 11 going, shut up.
I know he's your grandpa, but there's a word for someone that does that, and that word is douchebag.
No, not about him, not grandpa.
Sorry, man. No. Let the kids sleep, dude. You're missing the point. The kids aren't sleeping.
Memories.
The kids are not sleeping, ladies and gentlemen. And as a father of 2 young adults, but when they were in high school, they were a mess. I mean, they were up late. Really? They never. By the time they were both early mid-teens, 13, 14, 15, they were both really struggling to get enough sleep. And there's a school in Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio, Mansfield Senior High. They have now offered a new class, and it's called simply How to Get to Sleep. They're sick of watching their students sleep through the day at school, and they're realizing, there's this whole idea of, you have to teach little babies how to sleep. Babies, you have to explain, or not explain, you have to, you model, you have a very specific schedule, you stick them to it, you have the same things, you get them into the routine. You teach a baby that this is signaling that we're moving down towards, you're going to be laying down and sleep soon. It's a very real thing for young parents. It's like it can throw your life off if you don't get a kid on a schedule. And now, finally, educators are going, well, hang on, screw the babies. What about these teenagers? They're all a mess. And they're asking kids to write down and journal their whole, for 6 weeks. What time did you go to, what did you do from between, turn the lights off to sleep, what happened? And they're like, well, I scrolled through my TikTok, and then, they're in bed with their phones, of course. And it's the kind of thing where they've been doing this so long, the idea of leaving a phone outside of not an adult with responsibilities, a teenager leaving the phone outside their room, it's traumatic for these kids. And it really has impacted their sleep. You got to get your sleep, especially, I'm so glad that I came of age in a pre-internet, pre-smartphone era, because I never, ever missed out on my sleep when I was a high school kid. Man, I couldn't make it past 10 p.m. to save my life. I was out. I slept like a log until I was 25.
Yeah, same.
Constantly.
Same. We're actually, it's the timing on this is unbelievable because we've just implemented new rules in the Fletcher household.
Okay.
We have a 12-year-old that'll be 13 in October.
Okay.
And there's been a rule. We don't use the phone. They bring it to their rooms when they go to sleep to charge, but you don't use it. Found out she's been using it. and so we've actually implemented the phone stays downstairs. This is only the second night of it,
right?
And it was kind of traumatic. Yeah. But I'm telling you, and when you Google like how much sleep these kids need, 6 to 12, they say still 10 to 12 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And they're most of the time they don't get that, and so we've implemented this. I don't really have any hard data yet because it's only a couple of nights, but we just made a hard mandate: no more electronics in your rooms.
Attaboy. That's good. You got to do it.
Keep us posted.
Well, it's part. Yes, I will. But I think that's part of the reason too. That I hate to say this, but the reality is that schools have to do some parenting.
Sure.
Because they're not getting it as much at home in some cases. Now, obviously not all cases. Yeah. But in some cases, these teenagers come to school and they have no idea what they're doing.
Your staircase squeaky, creaky. Can you hear somebody going up and down those stairs?
Oh yeah. The stairs actually come down.
There's going to be
right above our bedroom.
There's going to be a midnight run. That's all I'm saying. Someone's going to be like, I'm going to get down there and get that phone. They'll never know.
Right.
I don't know if they dare cross Dad like that.
Absolutely inevitable. Get ready for it. Figure out what you're going to say because it's going to happen.
Maybe there'll be a new. Maybe there'll be a new passcode on the phone.
We started this yesterday. Some inexplicable things, stories. What's the craziest thing that you've ever been a part of or that happened to you? What's a story you tell that people do not believe you? 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. What's the most inexplicable, weirdest thing that ever happened to you? What's the thing that when you tell the story, people go, no way, man. No way. Yesterday, a text came in. We hit this at the end of the show. Here's a text. I hit a deer riding my e-bike. I broke 7 ribs and my collarbone and fractured my skull.
Holy buckets.
With 7 stitches.
How was the deer?
Apparently, we don't have an update on the deer yet.
Yes.
I'm guessing the deer won.
I would hope so.
It's sounding like it did.
Man,
That's brutal.
It reminded me, reading that, I broke both of my arms playing basketball at the same moment. I went up.
What do you mean at the same moment?
It was a pickup game. It was Memorial Day in a gym that we had broken into to play. So there was no one around.
Oh, perfect.
There was no office unlocked. There was no phones anywhere to call to get help. I had a breakaway and I went up, and this was at a time when I was able to dunk a basketball. And as I did with 2 hands, as I was just right as my hands were on the rim, a guy behind me, not to try to hurt me at all. He was like, I knew him. He just put his hand on like the small, just gave me a tiny shove, like a-hole, just like you do. But it was right as I was letting go, and it swung my legs forward. Like as I was already swinging forward a little bit, then that shove just made me go from flailing a little out of control to a flat-out half gainer backwards down to the floor.
And your arms, of course, stuck out to
my right wrist, and then it hit first, and it snapped back, and then as I was kind of balling up and trying to protect myself, my left elbow just went straight in too and chipped that. And I laid there on my arms, and having broken my arm as a kid twice already in life. This happened when I was 21. What am I talking about? It was right before my 21st birthday.
Okay.
I knew what it felt like to break a bone. It feels like pins and needles. Like before the pain, you have that feeling of, And I was laying there, and I immediately realized, I just broke both my damn arms. And I was like, I can't believe this happened. And then I kind of rolled over, and then it's like I have to stand up without using my arms, and everyone's like reaching a hand out. Hey, let me help you. And I'm like, get away from me. Don't touch my arms. And then I had to walk across this whole campus to get to the dorm I was living in. It was a summer session, and had to, have the guy call my brother to come get me to take me to the hospital.
With 2 dangling limbs.
It was Memorial Day, and when I got to the ER, all the guys who had blown up themselves at barbecues were in front of me in line. A bunch of burn victims from Memorial Day drunk cookouts.
Missing pinkies.
But the whole point is I spent that whole summer, and every time I saw anybody, they'd go, oh, car crash? Because they see 2 broken arms, and they just assume it's something like that. And I'd go, no, I was playing basketball.
Went full shack.
And nobody would believe me. Nobody would ever believe. And then finally, after a while, I would say, yep, car crash. That's what that was.
Just easier.
And then just to top it off, the day I got the second cast off, the day I was finally free of both casts, I rolled my right ankle and tore every ligament in that joint, and it was far more painful than 2 broken arms. And so I spent the entire summer just in pain. And everybody would look at me like, you got to be kidding me. Anyway,
no way.
But I didn't hit a deer on an e-bike. That's pretty strong right
That's
there.
insane. Both of those are insane. They're both no ways.
Absolutely no ways. Here's another one from Tom, texted in. I was on R&R in Singapore 7 years ago, and I walked into a hotel, checking in 10 feet away, my old high school classmate and his wife. We're both in Singapore at the same time, checked into the same hotel at the same time. We had no idea either one of us was going to be there.
Damn.
Because I told that story yesterday. I bumped into my brother in a hotel in Richmond, Virginia once, and we were just like, what's happening? What are you doing here?
Yeah, Tom's clean on the other side of the planet, though.
Yeah, that's pretty special, Singapore. As an 18-year-old girl, I hitchhiked across the USA and survived. That's a text.
That's a brave human right there.
Yeah. Inexplicable stories. What's the story you tell someone and they go, no way? There's a couple here on the text line, 651-989-ROCK. Okay, the first one, this is just all good. This is just good old-fashioned fun.
All right.
Okay.
On my first deployment while in the Navy, I'm already all ears on this one.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to spend my 21st birthday in Thailand.
Heyo.
I woke up in the lobby of the wrong hotel on a love seat, naked, with my clothes folded perfectly sitting on the table next to me.
So courteous.
My phone and wallet were still in my pants with all of my money. Nothing was missing.
Sounds like good old-fashioned hazing right there.
You got to love a society that sees a naked American GI laying there on a love seat, and it's like, well, we can't. Don't wake him up. You know what? Fold his clothes. Make sure those clothes are all there, and don't take anything.
Unless it was his buddies.
It could have been.
But still, people had to have passersby.
That's what I mean.
Passersby had to have been there. Yeah.
Plenty of opportunity for people to get in there. And check this out. Okay. Now this is one. Tracy texted this in, and this is as inexplicable as it gets.
Is this the one that you alluded to?
This is crushing. My biological parents told my 15-year-old sister, quote, if anyone asks, we went to the drive-in movie. They never came back. Abandoned 10 kids.
Oh, my goodness.
At home at the time. The oldest was 15, the youngest 6 weeks. Where are those people? And I feel like we
What's
have
her
to...
name?
Tracy.
Tracy, I mean, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
Tracy should reach out to Netflix, Hulu, whoever.
Wow.
I would watch this documentary in a heartbeat. Also, you get the benefit of their staff investigating all of this for you if she wants answers, or maybe she's got them and not sharing. But I would watch a documentary on that.
That's incredible, right there.
That is, and it's heartbreaking too. That's awful.
651-989-ROCK. Okay, let's get it back to the fun. It was a Friday the 13th. Gotta love that. Starting off on the right foot.
Yeah.
I was on my way to work. The brakes in my car failed.
Oh boy.
I went through a red light, hit a school bus right square in the front tire, totaled my car, scratched the hubcap on that school bus. After everything got settled at the accident site, there was a nice man there who offered to give me a ride to work. I took him up on it. We went about 5 blocks. He got T-boned in the passenger's door at an intersection.
Gotta be kidding.
Of course, right where I was sitting. Somehow, luckily, I didn't get hurt in either accident, but I did go home for the day. I think 2 car crashes is absolutely you've crossed the line of, hey, boss, I'm not going to make it in today.
Yeah, you made every effort to get there.
Yeah.
Not like some people who sleep in and their boss calls and they say, oh, I was supposed to work at the grocery store today?
Yeah. Well, these things happen. Lucy texted in, I broke my fingers on my right hand rollerblading, had a couple of surgeries, and then it was put into a cast. Then a small travel hairdryer blew up in my left hand, left me with an electrical burning, and that was wrapped for a week or so. So I had both hands wrapped, couldn't tie my shoes, and all the other things. Very challenging. Trust me. So when I had 2 arms in cast, when I broke my arms, as I'm at the ER and I'm leaving, the guy gave me, he wrote a prescription for like Percocet or Percodet, some sort of opioid for the pain.
Yep.
And I said, thanks. And he said, get on these, make sure you take these. And he referenced it a couple times. He goes, hey, get that every 8 hours or whatever it called for. He said, don't. And I go, is it going to hurt that bad? And he looked at me and goes, no, but it will constipate you, and you need a few days to figure out how you're going to wipe yourself.
Oh, my God.
And that's when I realized I'm way in over my head
Never
with
even
this.
thought about that.
Yeah, you don't think of those things.
No.
A lot of things, all of a sudden, a strapping young man at 20, and all of a sudden I couldn't use my arms for anything.
I still, and it's not nice, but I still giggle just because when you start the sentence, I broke my arm, you expect it to stop at that. You don't expect it to end with an S.
Oh, yeah.
I broke my arms. I giggle when you get to arms.
Sure. No, it's crazy.
Just like I broke my arms.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. You know,
And you didn't know how to wipe.
But I did take full advantage of those few days, and because I had the fingers were the right wrist cast, that goes around your thumb, and then you can still use your fingers and your thumb. But I practiced because the one thing I knew was I had to go back home and move back in with Mom for a month, and I was like, it's been a long time since this woman had to help me in the bathroom, and we ain't going back down that road. Happy to say I figured it out.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Per our conversation, I believe yesterday, thank God you didn't have to be naked to go to the toilet with the broken arms.
Yeah, no, never had that issue at all. Okay. Here's a good one,
God.
and then we'll hit it. No, it's just these things are so incredible. I was in line at a bank in Melbourne, Australia. I was wearing a sweatshirt that said Northwoods Outfitters, no other indication of where that might be. There was an older local woman who looked like a babushka grandma in front of me in the very slow-moving line. She turned to me and said, "Are you from Grand Marais?"
No way.
I was totally confused as that was so random. She pointed at my sweatshirt and said, "Oh, my sister lives there."
Wow.
What are the chances? That's good stuff.
Yeah,
651-989-ROCK. These are all great. I love a good story that I tend not to believe. So keep on sharing them. We're feeling Minnesota around here. Headlines are coming up.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Good Thursday morning. It is April the 17th. We're feeling Minnesota, which is kind of how I like to say it's time for some headlines.
That's right. The birds were singing this morning. It's going to be a good day. The first, we had the big brown bat. Now crews have a new tool, and we're out yesterday combating mosquitoes. The Metropolitan Mosquito Control District. That sounds very official.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Control district is the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District.
Mm-hmm. It's a real thing. They've got drones loaded with dry pellets that have a natural mosquito growth regulator. This is the first year treatment drones will be used in almost every county, targeting areas of standing water first, because, that's breeding ground. Experts say the process is designed to target mosquito larvae and poses no risk to humans. It's also safe for beneficial pollinators like bees and butterflies.
Okay, fair enough.
Take them out.
Whatever it takes.
Less welts on my legs makes me happy.
Yeah, get out there.
Hey, the deadline for air travel requiring a real ID is coming up very soon. This is more so than anything. This is just a reminder, because it's been in the news for a while now, but May 7th is coming up pretty quick. The application process and documents required are pretty typical. It's almost like applying for a job. You'll need documents to prove your identity, passport, permanent residence card, birth certificate, got to know your social security number, and 2 docs proving you're a current Minnesota resident. The big thing is, again, the deadline, and these processes take time. So if you want to fly, get on it.
Wait, hold on.
When was that deadline again?
May 7th.
May 7th.
They've been kicking this for years.
You can still fly with a passport, though. You don't need a new... I mean, if I have a passport, I can still just use that.
Yeah.
That's not changing.
That should be accurate.
That's what I always fly with anyway, just because if, when you're in a different state, they look the same, whereas a different license looks different from state to state.
True.
I'm not trying to look like a smart guy. I'm just trying to make it easier for the person checking my ID. But this whole real ID thing, I guess it's true this time. But like you said, Ryder, I've been hearing about this thing for years.
But now
they've been kicking it.
Now the deadline is finally coming, and I mean, they want you to get a real ID, and if you don't have a passport, which I know plenty of people that don't, get on this, especially if you want to fly.
Usually, I think it's like 3 to 5% of Americans have passports. That's it. It's a very low number.
I did hear last night on the news, they're so backed up with this real ID thing. They're kind of saying if you do have a passport and you are going to be able to fly, just hold off until they get through some of these other people. So heads up on that.
That's a good call. Very good call. Extend your own deadline, if you will.
I'm sorry. I'm going to correct myself. That was the number back in the 90s. Now it's more like 40% of Americans have passports.
Okay,
My bad.
That's good.
I just realized, wait, I think I'm quoting something from a long time ago, and it turns out I was.
Well, but that also works in the favor, because you've got, with this deadline, and people are probably scrambling like crazy if you've got a passport. Yep. I didn't even think of that, and so I'm glad you pointed that out, because it's a workaround, until you can get one.
Yeah.
So If you don't want to just travel with your passport all the time. Depeche Mode, Billy Idol, Eddie Vedder, and Metallica all have documentaries premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival. I think it's actually just called the Tribeca Festival. Okay. Eddie has A Matter of Time, which chronicles the constant fight to cure epidermolysis bullosa, EB. Billy Idol, Should Be Dead, focuses on his rise to fame and his issues with addiction. Depeche Mode's got their concert film M, which we've talked about. It captures the band in Mexico City in 2023. Metallica Saved My Life dives into the powerful, life-changing impact the band has had on their fans. I'm interested in all of those. Billy
Idol, legend has it, and he confirmed this. He was in Bangkok partying back in the day, as one does, and the party raged and raged and raged. He was like at a Mandarin Oriental hotel, which is like a 6-star resort type of hotel. Okay. And it went on and on and on. Days. He had new friends. And when you're doing a lot of drugs, you have new friends everywhere you go.
Lots of new friends. Yeah.
The hotel staff was trying to get him to shut up and clear the room, and he wouldn't leave. They called the police. They couldn't get in. They called the Thai military. They kicked through the doors and shot him with a tranquilizer gun and carted his ass to the hospital.
Wow.
That's a good story. I hope that's in the documentary.
If it's not, I'm not sure that you can validate the documentary. Finally, a 2-year-old boy. This is an unbelievable story. He's going to have one of those stories. In Arizona, went missing Monday night for 16 hours. The kid somehow walked 7 miles through a remote area before being found and led to safety by a ranch dog named Buford. I mean, come on, you can't even make that up.
Buford.
Yeah, and this is even crazy. Well, it's not crazier, but this is crazy in and of itself. Here is rancher Scotty Dunton, which sounds like Dutton, which is, rancher, and Megan Fitzgerald of the sheriff's office talking about the rescue.
It's in their blood, their guardians and stuff. Way there, I see Buford coming down the deal right there with a little blonde-haired boy with him.
He was young and ended up wandering further than anyone would have hoped. Not only did we search on foot, but also there were some of the razors and 4x4s, as well as we did make use of some of the helicopters to make sure that we were doing everything we could to locate the child.
There was 1,000 ways for that to go really, really bad and one good way, and luckily it turned out to be the good way.
Yeah. Glad to know the dog saved the day.
It's unbelievable.
Having lost sight of one of my kids once for 12 seconds, the panic that instills. I can't imagine a day without a kid. That's just
15 hours.
Whoa. Not good at all. That's a nice happy ending to a terrifying situation. A little bit of sports for you. The Twins have won 3 out of 4, including 2 in a row.
What?
Which now is, hey man, we'll take what we can get. A win in extra innings yesterday over the Mets. Mets are a pretty good baseball team, and we beat them. But the real story of the day was something that rarely happens, and then you see it happen, and you think to yourself, why doesn't this happen more often? First base umpire Hunter Wendelstedt at first base when this happens.
He shoots that one off Hunter Wendelstedt, and he goes down. Oh, my.
Did it get him in the head?
I think it did. Got him right in the back of the head.
He spun around to get away from the line drive, and, it just went right off his bean, and he was down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Did get up, walked himself off the field, went to the hospital. The word is he's going to be okay. But that is terrifying. This guy is on baseball fields every day of his life doing this, and he still didn't have time to get out of the way of that ball. I played in a charity softball game once, and a guy who was a football player, he played for the Jets or something. I'm spacing on the name. He was a lefty, and he hit a ball right towards first base. His wife had just gotten on first base in front of him.
Okay.
His wife is standing at first, and she and the first baseman for the other team are chatting, and they gave each other a hug. And as they separated the hug, husband's line drive went right through in the gap between their faces.
Come on.
At 9 million miles an hour. I'm not making this up or exaggerating.
If
it had hit either woman in the head, I can't imagine they would have survived, because this giant tight end for the Jets put all he had into a swing. And the whole field, everybody just froze.
Yeah.
And just went, oh my God. Jessi James. Is that a country singer? A girl? A blonde? Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'll remember it like tonight when I'm asleep.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I think it was a quarterback, though.
She almost got her head knocked off by her husband. Anyway, but like I said, he's going to be okay. The Timberwolves and the Lakers. The Timberwolves are big underdogs. With every passing day, everybody weighing in says the Lakers are going to win this series handily. Anthony Edwards is not too concerned. He's like, nah, we're going to get this. I love being overlooked. I love that we're the underdogs. And he does. It did in an interview yesterday. He referenced the fact that, when Dallas beat us last year, again, he goes, I was not ready physically. I had worn down by the end of the season. I'm in a much better place right now. He's very excited. And he also went on to say, not going to be any technical fouls. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to be super quiet. I am emotionally and physically more prepared than I was a year ago. I hope that's all true, because I would love nothing more than to see the T-Wolves advance. Lake Elmo, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
Lake Elmo. I'm going to resist the urge to do an Elmo impersonation.
Yeah, but you know what? Lake Elmo just sounds peaceful.
It does.
That's what it sounds like in Lake Elmo.
Until you imagine Elmo and that voice, which is
was it Eric Decker?
That's it.
Jessi James was his wife.
Yeah, it was Eric Decker.
Or was whatever. I think they're still married.
That's exactly who it was.
Yeah, wide receiver, so tight end. You were close, yeah.
Hardest ball I've ever seen hit in my life, and he almost killed his wife with it. Amazing.
That would have been...
I have a story to tell on that one. Speaking of stories to tell, most inexplicable, weirdest thing you ever experienced. The stories you tell that people go, no way. 651-989-ROCK.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very, very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. And in case you're wondering what the hell that was, we're going to play a game called Rank You Very Much. And not only are we going to play Rank You Very Much, we're going to do it with Jessi Pierce in studio. Jessi, Bardown Beauties, hockey savant, I'll go ahead and say.
I like that.
Let's go with that.
Take that.
That's strong.
I'm feeling it.
Good morning, Jessi.
Good morning.
Up early and in the room and everything.
Flattery will get you everywhere, too.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Let's also note that she wasn't supposed to come in until next hour, but we asked her if she wanted to play Rank You Very Much, and she's here. So she's a giver.
Yeah.
And she's a hard worker. There's some work ethic there, obviously.
I mean, it's fun. To hang out with you boys,
isn't that nice?
It's a good time.
I would think it'd feel more like losing a bet, but that's just
playoff hockey right around the corner, and now Rank You Very Much. It's a beautiful time of year. Rank You Very Much. We select a category. We all give our top three. I'm just trying to make this as quick as possible to explain.
Yep.
A game that you've been playing for many years with many folks, and you've brought it to Gorman in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I, Paul, am leaving it up to you. What is today's category?
Today's category is best 3-syllable band names. It's important to make the distinction. This has nothing to do with how good the band may or may not be.
Okay.
This is simply an English assignment. Really, it's an English homework assignment.
Okay. We welcome text 651-989-ROCK, the best 3-syllable band names of all time. Quick question. I gotta ask. Do we allow articles, or do they count as one of the 3 syllables, like the or a? Is it if I want to say the, does that give me an extra syllable, or does that count as one of the 3?
I mean, you know what? I leave it up to its own. Every person can, I think, interpret that the way they want to.
Wow.
I'm not really picky either way on that one, I don't think.
I'm going to call an audible and say, yes, we're going to allow the to be separate. So if you have the and then 3 more syllables, game on.
Thank you for that.
Okay. All right. You know what?
That right there is production, ladies and gentlemen.
In the interest of moving it along, we'll just say yes.
Okay.
I'll agree.
Whatever we got. All right, so let's we're going to start with our number 3s, and then we'll do our 2s, and eventually we'll get to our 1s. Jessi, you're the star of the day. You're our visiting guest. Let's go ahead. Let's start with you.
We're going to start easy. We're going to go with OAR. OAR of a Revolution. I have seen them in concert probably more than any other band. Big fan. Had the opportunity to meet them. OAR. I'm going to rock with them. Yeah.
Wow.
You know what?
Coming in out of left field. I like it.
I'm going to go on the attack here.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a terrible selection.
You're a terrible selection. Excuse me.
You know what?
Yeah.
OAR is phenomenal, but
Yes.
that's 3 letters.
Okay,
It's
I mean,
OAR.
okay, fine. You want me? All right, I got my.
Nope. You have to stick to your 3.
But
Nope.
but
Nope.
I was excited to say OAR.
Fair enough. And you know what?
I think it's
I
fantastic.
think it was
Mark
I didn't
Bears
see
and
it
the boys.
coming.
Yeah.
All right. You see, they're just being nice because you're a guest.
I mean,
They are a great band, though. I love them.
I
love them.
If I were going to go with a 3-letter band, of course I would have said
Right?
REM. But you want to go
exactly.
OAR, you do it your way.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Okay, I've heard of OAR. I've heard some of their music. What does it mean? What are the words again?
of a revolution. So see, I would have
Of a
done
revo-
it that way, except it doesn't work.
Yeah,
for
that
the 3
doesn't
syllables,
play by the
right?
rules,
So
yeah.
I
You
had
gotta
to
play
go
by the rules.
OAR.
All right.
It wasn't,
No, I'm
Fletcher's in my
totally
head now.
down. I did not expect to hear that at all. Ryder?
Jesse, I like you being sneaky. I like that
Yeah.
you got that
Thank
one
you.
in.
That's what it is.
Thanks.
My number 3, Motorhead.
Yeah.
Can't argue that.
Pretty great band name. Pretty great band.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I went
okay.
I went by with what I thought were great bands. They're okay.
Yeah.
I went with what I thought were great
sarcasm.
bands. So
Yeah, sure.
all of mine are bangers.
That's great. I love that.
It's total sarcasm on the they're okay. That was the whole intent. They're okay.
What do you got, Fletcher? Number 3.
I'm 3. 9-inch nails. I mean, it's just the name is just it evokes imagery and you can kind of get an idea of what kind of music the band makes just on 9-inch nails alone. And it's
That's very true.
9-inch nails is
all right.
A solid 3.
What
do you got?
My first one. For the younger listeners, you may not even know this was a part of the jargon before this band co-opted it. Talking heads. That's what we used to call. That's what we used to call people on the news. They're just a talking head.
Yeah.
fair.
And that's not something you ever hear anyone use anymore because the Talking Heads band came along and just stole it. But I've always just, as far as, and I do happen to love their music, but just as a name, I remember still hearing like Talking Heads. Oh, what a good band name.
Very, it's kind of, it's a name that's subtly on the attack. You know what I mean? They're totally making fun of so many people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I don't like about this particular category is it's really tough. Other than Jesse's OAR.
Wow.
It's really tough to nitpick and attack people.
Other than Jesse's.
I probably won't be able to attack you again, though. I'll probably be the only one.
This next one is it's
Really?
good.
You
It's
feeling good?
polarizing for most people, but I know it's a good one
All right.
in my heart
All right.
and soul.
Lay it down.
Now you're up. Number 2.
Nickelback. That's what we're going with. I'm
Steve?
standing by it. What are our feelings?
We're just
Steve?
We're just going off names. And
Well, she's not going just off
I'm
names.
not. I love them.
okay, great.
Well, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Right?
No,
You
that's
know what?
fine.
We have
I mean,
feelings.
some people like mayonnaise.
We have-
We're all different. We're all different people.
I haven't said this openly yet on the show.
Yeah.
And you know what? It actually gives them some good fodder to pick on going
Right.
through. I love them too. There, I said it.
I've kept it a dirty little secret for far too long. I
Right.
listen to them every time I leave the arena. If the Wild have won, it's just kind of a little thing I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about it.
It's loaded with cheese, but it's good songwriting, man. It just is. It's
Hey,
good
at least
storytelling.
at least it's not Creed.
Fair.
I mean, there's always that.
Not much difference.
Creed's going to come on the day we do 1 syllable band.
That's exactly right. All right, no, man, OAR and Nickelback. I mean, you are just swinging
all
for the
over.
fences here. This is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Ryder,
I
what do
don't
you
want
got?
to talk smack about Canadian bands.
No.
My number 2, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Soundgarden.
Man. And it's a good.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
Great band name.
I'll tell you what. Right now, Ryder is taking this very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went through my CD collection and looked at how many syllables were in
Yeah.
some of these band
Yeah.
names.
That's so great.
Sure.
That's part of the fun of this game, right? Is the work that you kind of have to put in behind the scenes sometimes. It like that. You probably saw some stuff like, oh, I'm going to listen to this today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What do you got?
I did rock some Soundgarden.
Number 2,
Yep.
a band that's I believe is coming to town that we are presenting, the Sex Pistols.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, again, imagery is there. It
Great.
accomplishes
Says
a goal.
it all.
It
Says it all.
accomplishes a goal. It's not just some name it's not a placeholder.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. My number 2, Grateful Dead. And again, we don't have to we don't have to analyze the difference when Mickey Hart wasn't there and they're actually listenable. We can just discuss the fact that it's a great band name.
Is it? I would say no on that. Grateful Dead.
What does it even mean?
Exactly.
Like Grateful Dead? Like the They're dead people. They don't get to be grateful.
It means anything you want it to mean.
Oh,
but
okay.
just you're the guy talking about imagery. Hey, man, it's like bang. Nobody ever said, what was that band called? You hear it, you
That's
remember.
True. That's true.
The Grateful Dead.
It's
or
like
simply Grateful Dead.
And they got the Dancing Bears, which they have nothing to do with each other. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to relent.
What, did the Rolling Stones have lips? No.
That's true.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
don't overcomplicate these things. We are in the middle of a game called Rank You Very Much.
Yeah.
We're discussing great 3-syllable band names. 651-989-ROCK is the text line where you can share band names with us. A lot of our listeners don't know what syllables are. But I'm not gonna kick dirt in their faces. Syllables. Hey, 3. That's all you get.
A really quick on-air production meeting.
Yeah.
We should start deciding who wins each week. Even if it's kind of like, you remember Whose Line Is It Anyway? The award points and the points don't matter.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We should, we don't even have to have points. We just decide at the end who wins.
Well,
it's going to be me today.
Well, I'm sorry. No, as a
Southern
gentleman, it has to be company wins. So, Jessi, you've already got the blue ribbon. Well done. Jessi Pierce in studio with us. We're going to discuss. We'll be talking hockey, soon enough. But right now, it's all about the 3-syllable band names. We've heard your first 2. OAR and Nickelback, both coming in out of left field. I'm honestly tantalized by what I'm about to hear.
You know what's funny is there were 2. I came up with 2, and one is completely off the rails. And actually, it's not even probably considered a band. I'm going to save that. I'll do a secondary afterward. But I'm going to go with Nirvana as my top.
Nirvana number 1. If we're not doing around the horn Nirvana, somebody's getting fired today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Well, she's saying that's
I'm in danger.
Here we go. What do you got? Number 1.
My number 1, a band I saw at the what was it called? Water's Edge or whatever. I was on Harriet Island 2012. Dave Matthews and Tool headlined, and there was a side stage, and I'd never seen this band before. And I don't even go deep on this band, but I saw them, and they blew me away with the performance, the colors on stage, the Flaming Lips.
Yeah.
Flaming Lips. Saw them and first time I saw that band, I had a similar experience, and it was in the 80s.
So good
it was
live.
Forever ago.
So good.
Phenomenal.
Mesmerizing.
Yeah. So you're taking advantage of the definite article "the" as a exempt from a syllable. The Flaming Lips.
Is that technically in their name?
I believe it. Maybe. Oh, you know what? Actually,
I think they're just Flaming Lips.
See, I was going to go either way.
The Flaming Lips.
Either way, great band. I'm fully endorse that decision of yours.
Thank you.
I was going to go one of my favorite band names, just a great word, but because it had "the," I backed away from it. I was going to go with the Raconteurs. Okay. Just love that name. But my final 3-syllable band name, Husker Du.
Husker.
Come on, man. Husker Du.
You got the 2 little dots
1,
above the
2,
U.
3.
What are those called when you have little dots?
The umlaut.
Yeah, the umlaut. That's what it is.
Needs the accent too. You need to say it just like that.
Of course,
right?
Can't. I believe that's actually Husker Du is it a Danish expression? I believe maybe. Could be wrong.
One of those Scandinavian countries.
I know it was. All I know is it was a game when I was a kid. There was a game called Husker Du. It was like basically, it was like matching cards. Do you remember that? It was.
I played
do you
that.
remember? That's what that means, pretty much. Yeah.
Yep. You just nailed it. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Norwegian Danish name that translates or phrase that translates to "Do you remember?" Very good. well done. You get a gold star.
Remember?
Jessi may get the blue ribbon for winning. Thank you very much, but you get the gold star for remembering. Do you remember?
Well, fair enough. I'm
very proud of you today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you remember Mousetrap? Another great game from my childhood.
It was a great game.
They came out with a new one though, and it looks completely different. It's very disappointing. It broke my heart when I got it for my kids. I was like, no, this isn't the classic.
You know what though? You've got a perfect salve for that broken heart and a blue ribbon. You've won the day, Jessi.
Nice
really,
work.
really
Thank
well
you guys.
played.
Really good.
It feels
That's
like a
great.
participation award, but I'll take it.
The Wild are in the playoffs, and Jessi's here to break it all down for us. Before we go there, however, we are going to be feeling Minnesota as far as headlines go. Stick around.
It's Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
Losing my religion. That is when you lose your temper or feel really frustrated or you just get exasperated or desperate. Yeah. And that's what they say down south, man.
Really?
I'm losing my religion. That's what that means. And I didn't know everybody didn't know that when that song came out. And then it was like, what the hell's that mean? And us Southerners were like, what's the matter with y'all? Bless their hearts. They don't know what that means. That's what we said.
Oh, shucks.
Because we all say bless their hearts
Golly
when we
gee
roll our
willikers.
eyes at you.
Right.
That's how that goes.
Is that the version of Minnesota Nice?
That's exactly what that is. It is a Thursday morning. A couple things of note. Jessi Pierce is in studio with us. We'll be discussing the Wild series, the postseason for the Wild, coming up in a few minutes. But right now, it's time to admit that we're feeling Minnesota, which is how we say, what are the headlines, Paul?
They are this. Summer events in Minnesota can obviously get quite hot. Lawmakers, though, are working to make sure staying hydrated isn't a luxury. A new proposal at the Capitol would require ticketed events with more than 100 attendees to offer free access to water, if they don't already. A part of the mandate qualify are free bottled water, permission to bring in sealed water bottles, or access to refill stations for those that bring empty bottles. So you can just, in one way, form or another, you'll have access to water. Exemptions include art galleries, museums, and presentation spaces where beverages aren't allowed.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think that's it's time to make water, it's time to normalize water.
I mean,
Game on.
We grew up with water fountains everywhere.
Target Field does this.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah.
I like it.
The queen of hydration, Ryder, has spoken.
From
in between gulps of her many gallons of water over there.
Out of the atomic bomb.
That's
it. From water to nuggets. Researchers in Japan have produced nugget-sized chunks of chicken using animal cells, signaling a breakthrough in lab-grown food production. The breakthrough meaning they've done this before with animal-based protein, but it was a tiny little sample, like a millimeter, basically, of food. And now they've figured out how to do it. Lab-grown, cell-cultivated meat has been around for over a decade, offering an animal-based protein option that does not derive from slaughtered animals. So there you go. Lab-grown diamonds and lab-grown chicken. Why not?
I mean, if you're gonna clone animals, if you're gonna create, at least make them edible. Basically, is how I look at that.
Yeah, that's only the reason. Yeah, you're saying we shouldn't eat the dire wolf, though, right?
I'd leave the dire wolf alone.
Just let that thing grow up in peace.
No, but
and then eat your face.
I have no problem with this concept of lab-grown chicken nuggets, because I know what chicken nuggets are usually made of, and it's probably not nearly as good for you as lab-grown chicken nuggets. In Japan, they're very health conscious. These are nutritionally. The Japanese, generally speaking, they don't put a lot of crap into their food.
Just wait until America gets a hold of them.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Fire Festival 2 has been postponed. That's shocking. According to the organizers, Billy McFarland, who was behind the initial Fire Festival. Jessi, did you see that documentary?
I did. It was...
Would you give this guy your money?
Jessi was stranded on that island.
I was.
It was a terrible story.
I'm so glad you made it back.
She was one of the first people to buy tickets to that first one.
Wow.
The styrofoam sandwiches and everything. It was great.
Billy McFarland was convicted of wire fraud in 2017. That's always if they can't find another way to get somebody, they always use wire fraud, right?
If I ever go down, I hope to God it's for racketeering. It just sounds like a great thing to get arrested for. I don't even know what it means. I just love that sound.
McFarland's new event, which was scheduled to take place in Mexico May 30th to June 2nd, was being advertised under the slogan, Fire Festival 2 is real. Tickets started at, that's awesome marketing. Tickets started at $1,400. A message sent to a ticket holder, though, said, quote, the event has been postponed and a new date will be announced. We have issued you a refund once the new date is announced. At that time, you can repurchase if it works for your schedule.
See, I would think lab-grown chicken nuggets are real. That's a slogan I can get behind. When you have to tell people that the festival you're booking is real, you're real. It's an uphill battle
already.
Yeah, you're the game ended, and you're still looking at the coach, going, "When am I getting in?"
We've been a little distracted. We've got Jessi here. What I should have been doing is I should have been researching how many tickets have been sold, because I'm so curious. How many people have given that buffoon money? $1,400 too, not $25.
You're underestimating kind of the stupidity of people, I think, right?
Absolutely fair. Pringles and Miller Lite, speaking of stupidity, have teamed up to develop new chip flavors starting in May. This isn't stupid. That's mean of me. Be on the lookout for beer can chicken and grilled beer brat flavored Pringles. Question, do we need these, really? I mean, does the world need...
If I go to a barbecue and they're there, I'll eat them.
Yeah. You wouldn't defer to... Would you look for original Pringles first, though?
No, I want to try the new flavors.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I've tried a lot of different chip flavors from other places. If you go to England, you'll see prawn-flavored chips, which they call crisps. Everywhere, prawn. They love their shrimp chips. And I can tell you this, I don't love those.
No. Ish, ishy. Beer can tastes like roasted chicken with notes of garlic and onion. Beer brat is a grilled brat flavor with black pepper, caramelized onion, and brown spice.
We can't talk about Pringles without me thinking about the fact that the guy that invented Pringles, he was cremated and his ashes were buried in a Pringles can, which is just badass.
That's good marketing.
That's great marketing.
It probably doesn't taste much different either.
No, not at all. He knew exactly what the messaging was there.
That's all I got.
Let's talk about some sports. The Minnesota Twins won a game yesterday. That's kind of cool. They played a baseball game against another MLB team and won.
But they've won 2, right?
2 in a row. 3 of their last 4. And this game, like the others, over the Mets, who are a pretty darn deep team. That's a good roster over there from Queens, New York. 4-3 victory in 10 innings. The story of the game, 2 stories. 1, Twins had a lead, blew the lead, and then stayed there. Their resolve was on display after the game. Rocco's like, this is all about toughness. I love how aggressive we were. He was very excited to get the win. But during the 7th inning of that game, Hunter Wendelstedt is the first base umpire, and he got on the business end of a line drive. It sounded like this.
He shoots that one off Hunter Wendelstedt, and he goes down. Oh, my.
Did it get him in the head?
I think it did. Got him right in the back of the head.
Yeah, he went down, stayed down for a while, did get up, walked out under, on his own 2 feet, a la Evel Knievel. I'm walking out of here on my own 2 feet. He got out of there, went to the hospital. He's apparently going to be okay. But a line drive off the dome is terrifying.
Why don't they want, like you've said in previous hours, you almost never hear of this.
Never.
But just because of the potential consequences, why not just wear helmets?
I don't know, man. Those umps are stuck in their ways.
I think the first base coaches are wearing helmets, so I don't see the umps being far behind.
Jessi Pierce is in studio, as we mentioned, and this just reminded me of one of my closest friends at a Dallas Stars game 3 years ago, season ticket holder. His wife took a puck right off the side of the head and was knocked out in her chair. I mean, they had to bring in the EMTs. It was bad. She's okay, but it was really, really dicey there for a bit.
Keep your eyes on the ice.
Yeah,
Keep your eye on the puck. Yeah.
When I was a kid going to baseball games, no nets really anywhere. I think back to that and I'm like, man, that's incredible. Just how dangerous that used to be. But of course, we didn't have cell phones to stare at and lose focus on what we should have been paying attention to.
That's very, very true. And what did it take? It took 1 death, right, in Columbus for the NHL to put nets in.
Yep.
They certainly
Ariana
did.
Grande got hit with a puck down at the Florida Panthers game when she was a small child.
Is that true?
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So that range comes from being hit in the head with a puck. Go figure.
And probably the music.
Yep.
Man, that's amazing. You get an extra octave when you hit it the right part of the head. I never knew.
Yeah.
I might be connecting the dots that don't need to be connected with that one. Also in the world of sport, Arsenal beat Real Madrid yesterday in the European Championships. You're damn right they did. Aggregate 5-1. Take that, Real Madrid, defending champions. We're off to the semifinals. I took in the game as I do at the local, and I took the unusual step of doing what they call day drinking, and I'm paying the price now.
I mean, that's the only benefit to watching soccer from Europe.
Yeah, you know it.
I don't know about that. They're pretty phenomenal athletes, but you definitely have Guinness face today for sure.
Oh yeah. No question about it. Just a pint after pint of the black gold, and here we are. Into the semifinals against PSG. Those French bastards. We'll show them a thing or two. I should probably move on from soccer. I can see that. I can feel the glazed eyes. Soccer jerk from day one. That's me. Very proud.
I'm with you.
So. Always been a soccer jerk, which is not the same as being a Shakopee jerk. Whole different situation.
Yeah, Shakopee.
Glad to have you with us this morning. One of the things we've been discussing this morning is inexplicable stories, crazy stories that you've been a part of, things that happened to you, and we've got some text to share.
Gorman in the morning, coming right back. 92 KQRS, streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
So that was Spin Doctors. Did you see the interview from the singer of Spin Doctors this week on the Rolling Stone Music Now podcast?
I did not.
He explained that he is still unable to listen to Pearl Jam. He resents them that much. He said that they were on the same label, Epic Records, and Epic was putting all the King's horses behind the Pearl Jam machine.
Weird.
And leaving Spin Doctors out to dry.
I wonder why.
Oh, would you relax with this Pearl Jam thing? Just another band.
I won't. No,
all the bands are just other bands. He just said he was very frustrating He said it was very frustrating to realize they're getting all this promotion and what happened to us and what about us. And it's like, well, let me tell you how the music industry works, bub. Somebody detects a pulse on a record, then they all chase that record. The promotion people, they don't equally support all their artists. I don't know if anyone had to explain this to him. It's been 30 years. You should probably realize that when a band is taking off and catching fire organically, the record company, who are all completely incapable of creating anything on their own, are like, let's put the money behind that. Well, they're making money. Then we'll make more money. It's just business. Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, and that's what I meant. He was high for like 12 years.
Well, there's that too.
So.
Yeah. He was so high, he thought that Spin Doctors were a band that people were interested in more than that one song.
Well, two.
Very nice guys, actually. I met those guys once. They were lovely, lovely people. Yeah. I think. I was stoned. I don't know. I was with them. We were just baked.
They were, you were, everybody was. Nobody even remembers this meeting ever happening.
No, of course not. I actually do. And he was wearing that damn cap. And I was like, dude, it's hot out here. Take that hat off. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. We've been discussing some crazy-ass stories that happened to us. Things that, there was we shared a story. A woman said she wrecked her car on the way to work one morning. Her brakes failed. She slammed into a school bus. And then she got a ride from a good-hearted Samaritan to get to work after the whole wreck had been cleared away. And then that guy wrecked his car. He got T-boned. She was in 2 crashes in less than an hour on the way to work. This text just in. This is the other side of that. This is the upside of crazy things. In a matter of 13 months, I had 3 things happen that normally never does. I bowled a 300.
Holy
So my man rolled a perfect game.
It's pretty good.
I got a hole in one.
Come on.
Damn.
Very nice. And had open heart surgery.
And lived to tell about
He
it?
was so excited by that hole in one that he had a heart attack. He said he was 35 and 36 years old in this stretch of time. Young for a heart attack.
Yeah.
Old to throw 300 for the first time. I mean, that's like, boy, if you're going to roll 300, I would think it would happen a little earlier in life.
Yeah,
have you seen bowlers?
Young for a hole in one. My grandpa got his when he was like 80.
I have one hole in one. And it happened way too early in my golfing days because I was not very good yet, but I had the shot of a lifetime. And I probably should have just retired right then.
Yeah.
Jessi's on a course like 4 times a week. Have you had a hole in one?
Goodness, no. Can barely make it. No, I'm not very good. I wouldn't say I'm good. I'm just out there for the beers and the golf cart, mostly having a good time.
Yeah, nice.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
My hole in one, the best part, well, it's cool to say you had a hole in one, but the best part of it was the words that came out of my mouth right before I swung the club. I was on tour. This is 1992. It's so long ago. I'd only been playing for about a year. And my tour manager said, we were going to fly home that night. And as we're standing there, I said to him, he said to me, closest to the pin, little wager. And I said, $100. And he said, you're on. So not only did I get a hole in one, but I immediately was paid $100 for hitting that hole in one.
What was the yardage? How far out?
About 170.
Okay.
And the other thing that was crazy about it too, I never do this. I was standing over that ball, and I had been playing a horrific round of golf. It was just last day of the tour, whatever. I couldn't hit the ball straight. I was in the middle of my backswing, and I stopped and switched clubs. That's no golfer ever does.
No.
It's so hard. I've been golfing forever, and I still, if I realize like my grip's off, instead of stopping the swing, I adjust it during the swing, and it never works.
What could go wrong?
It never works. The one time in my life I was ever mid backswing. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to hit that 7. And I changed clubs, and then I struck the ball. And not only that, right to left fade, the only time I've ever hit one in my life. I landed it after it went past the pin and spun back in.
Wow.
I've never done that since. It was the absolute blindest, luckiest shot in history. But everyone who saw it was like, that's a real golfer right there. And I let them think that as I bought drinks at the bar.
Nice.
I'm going back to the beginning of the story. We say, I've been playing for a year.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
What?
That's ridiculous.
No.
Ridiculous to hit that shot, get a hole in one after playing a year.
You ready for this?
It's ridiculous.
Alexander
Rookie of the year.
Ovechkin. Alexander Ovechkin, greatest goal scorer now of all time in the NHL. First time he went out golfing, got a hole in one.
Yes.
Sure he did.
He's even worse than Steve.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's
I've been golfing a year. Here's my hole in one. God.
Look, I said it. I wish it had happened later when I meant. I wish I had meant to do it. It's like it's not. Listen, it's not. I can't help it that I'm 6'3" and have great hair. Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, these things happen. The Wild are going. The Wild are going to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Jessi Pierce is in studio to discuss that very thing. Let's dig in. It's
time to put her to work.
Let's talk hockey on Gorman in the Morning.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Right now with Jessi Pierce, we're talking hockey. That's why Jessi's here. The Bardown Beauties podcast. What else? What are all the various places people can find you discussing hockey?
We don't have enough time. I kind of dabble in a little bit of everything, right? NHL.com. I'm bev karting in the summer out at Loggers Trail. We're doing things. We're doing stuff.
Bev karting. That's a good hotel alias. Back in the day, you used to have Bev Cart.
Oh.
Never thought of it. I was putting for par. That was my hotel name for a whole tour. My wife had to call a hotel and say, yes, I'm looking for a guest. Putting for par.
What about like that? Bev karting for a band name?
Well, you know what? This band, we all play golf in this band. That might actually make sense.
Bev karting.
All-time greatest hotel name for me, though, was, of course, Pat McGroin. Now, let's talk hockey. Let's talk playoffs. The Wild. Okay, before we get to the playoffs, let's discuss Fleury coming out for that OT. How awesome was that?
So incredible. Having covered him since he got here a couple of years ago, he's the best human being. He truly is. People have talked about it up and down in the league, but actually witnessing it, he deserves every good thing to happen. And so cool for Philip Gustafson, the starting goaltender, to tap coach and say, hey, we're secured in the playoffs. Let's let Fleury get the win.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
It really is something. When the word on a guy is that he's one of the great humans of all time, and then it turns out to actually be true.
Right?
Really nice.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't surprising, but it is, because you're like, sure, he's probably fine, he's probably nice, but no, he goes out of his way to make everybody feel welcome. And this is a first ballot Hall of Famer too, and just a great human.
For a Hall of Fame level athlete, just not being a douchebag is what a great guy.
Right.
It's like being a rock star. It's an actor, whatever. If they just have any semblance of just social norms, you think, man, they're awesome. But Fleury, as you said, way above and beyond at all times.
Yes, I mean, there was a Make-A-Wish kid that was a goalie out on practice, and all the players made this young child feel very special for the day. Marc-Andre Fleury stayed after practice, helped him with his pads, made sure he knew kind of positioning, just those little things. And he did it without being asked, without wanting anybody to really know about it. It was just, that's what he does. That's
and there's also, it's not surprising, but also hockey culture is just, of all the athletes out there, all you ever hear. And I'm anecdotally on the periphery of understanding hockey culture, and all I've ever known is, those are the good guys.
Yeah. I don't think I've had too many bad interactions, truthfully. They've all been very nice. Even there's been little ruffled feathers where I might ask a stupid question and a guy might bite my head off for a moment. I don't care. That's fine.
Yeah.
And they'll come up and be like, hey, sorry about that. I'm like, don't worry about it.
Sorry.
I'm good.
They say sorry about
Sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry about it.
I think it's part of the hockey culture. I think it comes from all the work that you have to put in. Not that a football player doesn't have to put in a lot of work, but they're handed a lot earlier. You know what I mean? You still, unless you're Connor McDavid, you have to earn it, man.
Sure.
Like still to this day. Whereas a lot of guys, like in the NFL, you see dudes maybe 1 year in college and then boom, here's $50 million.
I think there's a built-in humility when you play a sport where you can be literally killed at any second.
100%.
It's really true. And your teammates, you rely on other people. They have to rely on you. Certainly builds in a part of that character. This Wild team started the season on fire. A lot of injuries. They aren't the deepest team ever, but right now, at a good time of year, they seem pretty healthy.
They're fully healthy. It's a new team. It's been a tale of two seasons, I've told folks, right? That first half of the year, the Minnesota Wild, top 3 in the National Hockey League, top 5 at the most. Looked like they were sealed in, and then they went 2.5 months without Kirill Kaprizov, their top leading scorer, and Joel Eriksson, another invaluable piece for the Minnesota Wild. But they navigated the waters as best they could. They managed to keep themselves in that position. Came down to game 82, which seemed very poetic, if you will, for the Minnesota Wild, and it came down in dramatic fashion, as you guys have discussed before, in overtime, getting that victory. And now they're playoff bound, facing the Vegas Golden Knights, a potentially favorable opponent. They have been swept by the Golden Knights throughout the course of the regular season. But the games were a lot tighter than even the score indicated, so it could be okay.
So they're healthy now. Have they been healthy and just been recently? But do you get a sense that there's a genuine belief like, okay, we're the team we used to be already? They still got to work out the kinks. I mean, what's the genuine confidence level going into this series?
I think it's high based on that way that they got into the playoffs. It was a win and in, so they controlled their own destiny, which I think was huge. There are bumps and bruises this time of year. Every team has a player that's not 100% healthy, and I think the Minnesota Wild are no exception to that. But I think they're riding high because they have their players back. This is the first time that last game the other night was the first time they had been fully healthy with their roster since November 10th of this season, which is absolutely incredible. So it's kind of like a whole new team, a whole new breath of life, and they call the playoffs the second season.
Yeah, that's actually what I was just going to say. They have to feel rejuvenated by just being healthy, and like you have it, and then the way they ended, and it being a fresh start, the playoffs being the second season. Yeah, totally.
So what's the cliff notes of the Knights? What's their season been like? What do they do? What are their strengths? What are we most concerned with?
The thing that scares me most about Vegas is they have been the most consistent team in the West throughout the course of the year. And that means not too high, not too low, just very steadfast. Jack Eichel up the middle is an absolute monster. He is going to be the biggest problem for the Minnesota Wild. I believe he scored 5 points in 2 games against the Wild this year. Mark Stone has just as many in 3 games, as well as Logan Thompson back in net to Aiden Hill, their goalie. So it's going to be a challenge, but I do think they match up fairly evenly against a healthy Wild roster. Philip Gustafson's going to have his work cut out for them, though, against the Golden Knight offense.
Jessi Pierce is in studio with us on Gorman in the Morning discussing the Wild Knight series. It's insane to look ahead. I'm not suggesting anyone's going to do that too much, but if Minnesota's able to get past the Knights, does it get any easier? Is there a path that this isn't just? It's just going to be gauntlet after gauntlet, I guess.
I mean, it is, and that's what's so great about the playoffs, right? You could look at it as Dallas and Colorado are squaring off first, so good that eliminates one of those teams, but it's not an easy path either way. Winnipeg, St. Louis turned on the heat toward the second half of the season. Winnipeg hot all year.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy, and I think the West is arguably the hardest conference to come out of, and I think the Central Division in particular for the Minnesota Wild. But again, that's what makes playoffs exciting. There can be that Cinderella story. Not to say that Minnesota would necessarily be full fruition there, but if you get past Vegas, it gives you that second dose of belief, right? We are these teams, because Minnesota struggled against the Edmontons, the Kings, the good teams that are in the playoffs now during the regular season. But as everybody knows, it's 0-0. Your record is 0-0 heading into the playoffs, so anything can happen.
I think there needs to be a certain amount of luck if they do get past the Knights, because like you said when we started with this conversation, that they're not the deepest team, although that depth has been, I best given a lot of experience throughout the course of the season, because they played a lot more minutes than they probably expected to. But they've got to try to. I mean, it's the playoffs. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 guys throughout the course of the playoffs that dip out of the lineup. But it's if they can stay healthy, I mean, that's going to be a big one, I think, don't you?
I think your biggest person that needs to be healthy, Philip Gustafson. You need your man between the pipes, right? Because as much as we love Marc-Andre Fleury for who he is as a human, it hasn't been his best year. He's come in and stood tall when he's needed to, but also he's been a bona fide backup, a very genuine backup to every extent, because Philip Gustafson has played so well. So I think he is the top priority, too, because Philip Gustafson had kept the Minnesota Wild in games that they had no business being in. And so even if the goals aren't necessarily coming, Philip Gustafson is what this series is going to come down to.
I almost feel silly asking this, because it's professional sports and we're dealing with these are professionals, and they don't get caught up in things that, like younger athletes, it's not like a college program. But this team has a snake bit playoff history. Do they think about that? Do you think this particular group of guys cares about the past on any level? Are they aware of it? Because I'm always fascinated by that. When you get to the pro levels, certain things just do seem like they're in the air and water sometimes.
Unfortunately, it's a narrative us media members never let the team forget about, right? Or the fans or anybody. But Bill Guerin, very curtly said 2 years ago, after they were bounced in the first round by the Dallas Stars, that what does it matter? We're not trying to just win a first round. We're trying to win a Stanley Cup. So they try to put it into that perspective where, yes, you do want to get out of the first round. You understand the importance, the impetus that comes with that. But that's still not the goal. The goal is to just play the very best hockey that you can play each and every night. And again, I think Vegas, it's a favorable matchup. There is a possibility. It's only the second time these two teams have met up in the playoffs, the last time being 2021. And Minnesota came back, forced a Game 7. And Marc-Andre Fleury played for the Golden Knights at that time and actually ended the Wild season playing absolutely incredible. So, and again, anything can happen, but I would love to see a second round. I've covered this team for 10 years. I haven't seen a second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Bill Guerin says, like the second round you haven't won anything. Yeah. So it's whether you lose in the first round or the third round. That's spoken as a GM. I mean, fans I think would see a very different way of like I'd just like to see the Wild in it a little bit longer, but at the same time, he's not wrong.
He's not.
It doesn't. If you know, like we've got a mutual friend, Mark Parrish. Like he likes to say, what do we have in the league now? 32 teams. Right?
Yep.
31 teams are going to be unhappy every single year. Right. So whether you lose in the Stanley Cup Finals or you lose in the first round, I mean, it really kind of doesn't matter. Although I think the owner, too, wouldn't mind a few more home playoff games.
Probably could use that that money, I would imagine.
Jessi, who's a player on the Wild not getting the headlines? Like, give me watch this kid. He may show up. Someone might be 10 feet tall this series that we're not expecting.
Marco Rossi.
Who I want.
Who do you want?
No, you go. No, you go.
You want Zeev Buium? Is that what you want?
No, I want to see Freddie Gaudreau have an awesome playoff.
Freddie Gaudreau would be huge, but I'm going to look back at Marco Rossi, and I know he's a guy that's garners a lot of attention. He's been bumped down to the third line, but I think he's been, again, going back to the consistency factor, one of the most consistent players for the Minnesota Wild this year. He's avoided major injury to keep him out of the lineup. He's got an Ironman streak, and I think Marco Rossi can really do a heck of a whole lot for this team and can kind of hinge that, be that secondary scoring. Hopefully. He's been snake bitten towards the end, as we'd mentioned. But I think he's another guy. And then Marcus Foligno. I've loved the way Marcus Foligno has played the second half of this year. A guy that is a big body. Everybody knows, loves, moves, throwing it around out there. But he's been able to contribute offensively and bring a different side of players like Matt Boldy out and Marco Rossi. So I'm going to say Foligno, Moose, and Rossi.
And Moose rivals Fleury for nicest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
Another genuinely good human that happens to play hockey. Yeah.
Game 1 is what day?
It has not been officially announced yet, unfortunately, but it looks like it'll probably be Sunday in Vegas. So games 1 and 2 in Vegas, 3 and 4 back here. But if I were to predict, it would probably be Sunday later afternoon, early evening.
Now, will you watch on your phone from the craps table, or will you actually?
I should, right? Win a little money.
When in Vegas, throw some dice, watch some hockey. Come on.
Couldn't get better than that. It sure beats a series in Winnipeg, I'll tell you that, right? Let's just call a spade there, quite literally.
No
it's
kidding.
A little bit better of a location.
Wow, a little bit better for sure. If we go out on the ice right now, if I drop 10 pucks on the blue line, no one's in the net, I'd give you a stick. You putting all 10 in?
Yeah.
No, not even a question.
Not even a question.
From the blue line?
Sure.
All 10?
Sure. No, I'm just overly confident. I might make one. I might make one, but I'm going to tell myself. I'm going to go out there believing I'm going to put all 10 in.
I think you could do 10.
I believe
blue line's not that far.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I could.
I was questioning it more like devil's advocate. I think you could do that.
Yeah, there's nobody in. I mean, there's nothing to stop me. Sure,
right.
Why not?
Sure.
If a goalie can do it, if the goalie can sail one in from the back end, I could probably too.
Ever stood in the net? Ever been a goalie in any situation, even for fun?
I have. I had a few too many adult beverages once upon a time during a fundraising game, and I said, sure, I'm going to strap on another man's pads too that had been worn, so they stunk in addition to everything. They were far too big. I ended up very severely hurting my knee and followed up with an apology to every goalie I've ever covered, saying I'm very sorry for the criticism I gave you. I couldn't get up. I would go down and I couldn't even get up, so I was just a pylon by every definition in the net.
All due respect to Fleury, Gustafsson, and many that have come before them, you're missing something between the ears to even put on the pads in the first place.
It's just not a chance. Like,
you're
it's
nuts, man.
so
You're
challenging.
Nuts. Hey, yeah, sure. Fire vulcanized rubber at my head at 100 miles an hour. Sure. Yeah.
You came out and admitted you're a Nickelback fan. Is that Kroger kid play hockey? He's Canadian.
I think so, yeah.
Got to, right?
Connor McDavid's a big Nickelback fan, too. He finally came out and made it acceptable for hockey fans to say, what, we don't mind Nickelback.
They suck, actually, on the ice.
Really?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
No good, huh?
That sucked, but I mean,
They were kind of like more focused on like the singing portion of their lives.
Let's just put it this way. They look like guys that haven't ever played hockey.
We have something in common.
By Canadian standards,
shocking.
Not great. Yeah. I mean,
All
they
right.
can get around the ice.
Jesse Pierce, let's just go ahead and put you on the spot here before we cut you loose. Give us the call. What's the series going to be?
It's going to go 7 games.
It's 7?
Boys. I feel like it's going 7. I do. I love the belief and the confidence that this team has heading into the playoffs. They've already been battle tested. They've already kind of seen some of the bad. Let's go 7. I think Minnesota's going to come out on top.
Come on.
We're going to inject the confidence here.
I like it.
I want to see a second round. Selfishly, I want to see more too.
Of course.
That's
Awesome.
giving me that best opportunity, but let's go.
We will have you back on to praise your genius when it goes 7 and a
Love
win.
it.
That's going to be great. Thanks for coming in, Jesse.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Great
Good
to
time.
see you. We're feeling Minnesota around here. Stay around for headlines. Good Thursday morning. It is April the 17th. I'm feeling Minnesota. Fletcher's feeling Minnesota. Ryder's feeling Minnesota. So let's move on, shall we? What's happening in Minnesota?
First, the big brown bat. Now, crews are armed with new tools to combat mosquitoes. Like that, they almost feels like they don't stand a chance this year. We'll see though. The Metropolitan Mosquito Control District, which sounds like it should have its own like unit or like a show or something.
Sounds like
about
a
them.
speakeasy, and you got to know a password.
What would they serve there? Just drinks, right?
Yeah, just drinks.
Just whiskey.
Blood.
It's a real thing. They've got drones loaded with dry pellets that have a natural mosquito growth regulator. This is the first year treatment drones will be used in almost every county, targeting areas of standing water first, of course. That's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Experts say the process is designed to target mosquito larvae and poses no risk to humans. It's also safe for the beneficial pollinators like bees and butterflies. Larvae is one of the grossest words ever, by the way.
Not real.
It's a gross word.
It's never
Yeah,
bugged me.
larva doesn't bug.
No?
No.
Okay.
Just please don't shoot down the mosquito-killing drones. Like, let those be.
Leave them be.
Yes. That's part of the reason why we're telling you right now, so that you know that they're going to be there and they don't freak you out. They started yesterday, so hopefully there have been no drone casualties.
I mean, I think seepage is a gross word.
What about moist?
I'm fine with
Moist
moist.
never has bothered me.
It's never bothered me
Ryder?
at all.
I don't like panties.
Panties.
That's fair.
My wife also just like stop. Just
underwear,
don't say.
undies, that's fine.
No,
No
in fact, I
panties.
haven't thought of that in so long. I used to say constantly, I'd be like, hey, I'm doing laundry. Do you have any panties? I mean, she just use of that word just drives her crazy.
I grew up in, I grew up, but we have a household with 2 young daughters, and so panties were a constant use word for us. That's just the word that got
You in a house of estrogen.
Even the dog's a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that works.
Yep. The deadline for air travel requiring a real ID is coming up very soon, May 7th to be precise. The application process and documents required are pretty typical. They're nothing major. You'll need 1 document that proves your identity, passport, permanent resident card, or birth certificate. Got to know your social security number, and 2 docs proving you're a current Minnesota resident. The big thing, again, is the deadline, May 7th. If you aren't going to use a passport, like you pointed out, for domestic travel, you've got to have one of these real IDs starting May 7th. So there you go.
There it is.
I see a lot of road trips in some people's future.
Yeah, it could be, right?
That's right.
Unprepared. A 2-year-old boy in Arizona went missing Monday night for 16 hours. 2 years old, 16 hours. Usually that's an incredibly bad outcome. The kid somehow walked 7 miles through a remote area, even worse outcomes, before being found and led to safety by a ranch dog named Buford, which is so fantastic. Here we've got the audio of Rancher Scotty and Megan the sheriff talking about the rescue.
It's in their blood, they're guardians and stuff. Way there, I see Buford coming down the deal right there with a little blonde-haired boy with him.
He was young and ended up wandering further than anyone would have hoped. Not only did we search on foot, but also there were some of the razors and 4x4s, as well as we did make use of some of the helicopters to make sure that we were doing everything we could to locate the child.
There was 1,000 ways for that to go really, really bad and one good way, and luckily it turned out to be the good way.
Nice job, Buford. I'll be the first to tell you, if that had been Chauncey Gorman and that 2-year-old didn't have treats in his pocket, he would have left him right away. So, I don't see Chauncey saving the day in that sort of situation. He doesn't have. It's just not his. It's not his nature.
Buford is a ranch dog, though, so it totally makes sense.
Yep,
That's what they do.
Herding
heavy lifting
whatever you
hooch.
put in front of him, he's going to herd it around and get it back where it needs to be.
Yep, 100%.
Nice
That's
job.
all I got.
Buford's a good boy.
Absolutely.
Some sports headlines for you. The Minnesota Twins beat the Mets yesterday, 4-3, 10-inning victory. That's 2 in a row and 3 of their last 4. They are in a bit of a hole, but again, of course, it is still just mid-April, so we don't need to be too concerned about that.
I started to get superstitious that they were losing every time I was wearing my Twins hoodie because I've been wearing it a lot.
Yeah.
They've been losing a lot, but I wore it yesterday, and we're good to go. So now I've got to figure out what other piece of clothing is driving this.
All right,
poor
it's
Twins
good to know.
performance.
Keep us up to date on your jinx report,
Oh.
please.
Yeah. I'm glad that you can still wear your Twins hoodie, though.
Yeah, me too.
They had a lead. They blew a lead, but then they stayed their heads in the game. Rocco Baldelli afterwards said, "This was all about toughness. I loved it. I loved the aggressiveness our team showed all day long. That's a good thing. Very aggressive base running. They were just very. It was a very active win, and it's a good win, and it's the kind of win that apparently can turn a clubhouse around. However, that's still not the main story from yesterday's game. In the 7th inning, at the top of the 7th inning, first base umpire Hunter Wendelstedt did not get out of the way quickly enough from a line drive. It sounded like this.
He shoots that one off Hunter Wendelstedt, and he goes down. Oh, my.
Did it get him in the head?
I think it did. Got him right in the back of the head.
It sure did. He was down for several minutes, did get up on his own, was able to get to the hospital. They say he's going to be okay, seems to be fine, but that's very lucky because anybody taking a shot like that off the dome, you just got to pray they're going to be okay. That could have gone very, very, very poorly.
Yeah. He was just flattened.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the dog story. It could have gone a horrible direction instead.
The Minnesota Timberwolves will be taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, the 17-time NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers, and they are a pretty significant underdog. I mean, the odds haven't moved, but all the pundits, the experts weighing in now from across sports media, and pretty much everybody saying the Lakers will win this series. Ant-Man is all for it. He says, I love it. I love the fact everybody wants and expects the Lakers to win. That's how it's supposed to be. They don't want the Timberwolves to win. I get it. All right.
I like a pissed off Anthony Edwards.
As do I. But he also went on to say, I will keep my emotions in check. I'm not going to get on the refs if I don't get the calls I think I deserve. And by the way, when you're playing in Los Angeles against LeBron James and Luka Doncic, and the NBA is looking at that going, well, if they win their series and Golden State wins their series, the Warriors and the Lakers will play in the second round. I don't think we need to call all those fouls against Ant-Man. These things just happen. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't even think it's directives, but I'm just saying human beings hold whistles and they make human decisions sometimes. And it's hard to give a 23, 24-year-old kid calls when he's going up against 2 of the 10 greatest players in the history of the game.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how that cookie crumbles sometimes.
I couldn't agree with you more on that, and I think it's going to be a real challenge for Ant to keep his emotions in check.
Oh, it absolutely will. That's going to do it for sports for the day. Why not? The Wild. We did just have Jessi Pierce in studio for a good bit. We were talking about the Wild and the Knights. The podcast, if you want to hear that, if you missed it, feel free to go check that bad boy out. The Wild, I think we'll know later today when they actually play.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting.
Figure it out.
Speaking of exciting, the 2025 Tee It Up Golf Cart number 3 presented by Club Champion is on sale right now. Golf 7 area courses and save over $200. Text the word golf to 651-989-ROCK. How about Anoka, Minnesota? What a lovely community.
You know what their nickname is?
Anoka?
The sports teams? The Tornadoes. And they've got it, instead of the flame in the A that we used to get with the Atlanta Flames, it's a tornado in the middle. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Nice.
I like that.
I played the Anoka Tornadoes many times as a kid.
Anoka, not to be confused with Honora. Whole different vibe, if you saw that movie.
Yeah, very different.
Just saying. Lovely, lovely, lovely people up there in Anoka. Glad to have you with us. I got bad news for all of you who are still living your life under the auspices of the 5-second rule.
I love the 5-second rule.
You're not going to love it for very long.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Refugee, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. A song that they mixed in the studio and weren't even sure if they were going to put it on the record. They were like, what do you think?
Really? Refugee?
And yeah, they were, because when you're in the middle of it, you got 10, 12, 15 songs. You're trying to whittle it down to 10. Oftentimes, in the moment, you'd miss the magic of one tune because you've heard it so many times.
you're close to the project, as they say.
That's exactly what they say.
How many times do you hear these stories, right, where a song that ends up being a legacy song almost didn't make the cut, or like the story of like how a massive hit came to me in like 30 seconds. You hear those kinds of crazy stories all the time.
Very often, it'll be the last song that someone records. They're on a deadline. The producer goes, "Any other last chance ideas?" And many, many times, it's like, well, I got this riff, I don't know, and it's like the pressure's off. You feel like you've already kind of finished, and you're just playing out the last inning, with a big lead,
right?
And oftentimes that's where the song, suddenly that's the hit. That's a tale as old as time. Another tale as old as time is, hey, if you drop it and it's on the floor less than 5 seconds, you can still eat it. We all know the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
I'll stretch it to 10.
And of course you will. Look at you. Hardy Midwestern immune system working over there.
Yeah.
Let me get those germs in my system and battle them off.
Damn straight. I actually had a job once where I was being taught how to make chicken wings. And the only thing I remember from it was you get the wings and you put them in a big bowl, and there was this jar of red sauce. And the guy said, if you squirt 1 squirt, mix it up, that's mild. 2 squirts is medium and 3 is hot. It was the same. I was like, really? It's a quantity, not quality. Like the difference from mild to hot is just more of the same sauce.
Wow.
But he also said we do the 5-second rule here, and he shook the bowl and one hit the floor, and he goes, or really, I mean, it's fried and there's this hot sauce. Just it doesn't even matter. Just whenever you get it back in the bowl, it's fine. And I'm like, this is a restaurant to serve customer. He's like, don't worry about it. So anyway. It's just these things happen sometimes.
He's not wrong.
When I worked in a restaurant, I did not do the 5-second rule. That is a home-based thing.
Right. This is generally something we do at home. Well, a scientist, there's a TikTok going around. One of the TikTok videos, a scientist decided to put the 5-second rule to the test. He's like, let's see if it really does do anything differently. 5 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. He put a petri dish on the ground for various time limits ranging from 0 seconds to a full minute. And then he cultivated the samples.
Oh boy.
Every single sample from 0 seconds to 60 had evidence of microbial growth. No amount of floor time is safe when it comes to contamination. His result was anything that hits the floor, get rid of it.
Even 0, I just snatch it.
Bang, pick it up right away. But to your point, Ryder, no, that's what your immune system is for. You got to get the microbes in there. You got to fight them off, blah, 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 blah.
I just draw the line at home. If it goes on the floor at home, anything that falls on the floor out and about, no way. Just not interested at all.
What if you're at like a picnic and that's all the food you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was talking establishments. I guess I didn't factor in the picnic. That's fair. But yeah, I don't have, you know what? Like, times aren't tough enough where I've got to eat that food off the floor in a greasy kitchen.
I'm not saying this to try to be funny. I'll tell you straight up. My time limit on how long I'll let something sit before I eat it, it just matters on how drunk I am. Because if I'm at a bar and I'm working some nachos that I do not need, and that last perfect chip with everything, and then it bounces, hits my leg, then hits the chair, then hits the floor, I might very well go down there and get it.
I mean, if it falls in such a manner that you still have all the toppings on the upside, that is like the restaurant gods telling you, please eat this chip.
That's exactly right.
It just for you.
And the reason this doesn't happen at home very often is I have a Hoover named Chauncey, and he doesn't beg for food. He will not sit there and look at you like, give me some of that. Yeah. He sits a few feet away, knowing the floor is mine.
Yeah,
he is a white shark, and there's chum in the water. That's him.
What do you guess the reaction time is if something falls? Is it 2 seconds?
Oh, it's lightning fast.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Is he fast generally?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got speed when required. Mm-hmm. Strong as a frickin' freight train. That dog. I tell you, he scares me. Honestly, I bring him in most days just because I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid if I say no, he'll attack me.
Right.
That's
Anything
not
fall
true.
on the floor that Chauncey's not going to eat?
Not yet. Not yet. Don't know of anything that he hasn't put down. He'll give it a shot. And I mean, that's his only people food he'll ever get. I mean, we're very much sticklers about no scraps.
Yep.
Like I've had dogs where you just feed them human food and then they just fart all day. Yeah. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. Your dog food, thankfully, he treats every meal with his dog food like you'd think he hadn't eaten in 40 days and 40 nights. He's like, oh my God, there there it is, dog food, and he just absolutely devours it.
Our Charlie doesn't do veggies for the most part.
Oh, no?
Okay.
Fruit, yes, and then all the other, the carbs and in meats we haven't tested too much, but the fruits are the ones, or the veggies, I'm sorry, are the ones that she
like
stays
a carrot
away from.
on the floor.
A carrot, a pea, a bean, not so much. Everything else is fair game.
No, he's just a shop vac. I mean, it's just boom, you drop it, he's eating it.
Hoover,
and by the way, loves a paper towel too. Don't kid yourself.
Duh.
Yeah,
those are gourmet dishes to dogs, apparently.
He'll work those things over. All right, it's time that we stop being nice. It's time to argue the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. There's a list, and oh my God, why am I even going to open this Pandora's box? Oh, I just can't resist. I don't want to click on it, and then I do. Consequence.net has a list, the 100 best guitarists of all time. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm like, it's silly, it's subjective, it doesn't make sense.
Anything.
And then I click on it and I open it and I'm like, oh, what?
These are all wrong.
They're all wrong. These are completely wrong. Mm-hmm. The two things, you mentioned this first, Paul Fletcher. You said Les Paul is in the top 100 guitarists of all time at number 72.
It's appalling is what it is. It's less appalling is what it is.
Les Paul, the guy who you may have heard of a guitar called the Les Paul.
Yeah.
One of the pioneers of solid body guitars. Also a man, the only person inducted into both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well as the National Inventors Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Many a patent, many an invention. Multi-track recording, the process of overdubbing, he invented that.
Yeah, that saved a lot of time.
It really did.
To me, putting Les Paul 72 is like putting Italians 72nd on the all-time pasta list.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, those Italians are kind of good at pasta. Let's put them at 72.
There are a lot of people in this list as I scroll through it that I've never heard of, and that's okay. I don't claim to be an expert on all things guitar, but the number of these guitarists that I've never heard of, it is kind of surprising. Like, wow, you guys are digging deep into the recesses of your hipster brains to pull some of these people out.
This is the problem with lists like this, because it's like they go out of their way to prove to you how cool they are and how good their taste is, rather than just trying to be objective and trying to just, like me, raging Pearl Jam guy. I'm not putting the guys from Pearl Jam in the top 20. The top 50 maybe even.
There's no wrong answer, but that would be wrong if you did.
God, you just won't let it go.
No, I just can't. It's just because I love watching you twitch. Your eye twitches if I don't say something good about Pearl Jam.
If I have an eye twitch, I don't.
You just like these lists. There's a book. We're going to talk to a buddy of mine in the next week or two, a music writer, and he has a book like the 500 greatest albums of the 90s.
It's 501.
501, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it says on there, this book is here to start arguments. That's the whole point.
Right.
And so, of course, the top 100 guitarists of all time does. Here's the beef I have. Number 52 on this list is Angus Young. They got the wrong Young brother. Malcolm Young should be on this list. Rhythm guitar is guitar, and no one had a steadier right hand than Malcolm Young.
Why are the Angus brothers, whichever one of them, so friggin' low?
Right.
Well, that's very true.
Because they had St. Vincent at 20. That's why.
Oh, that's exactly why. Like I said, it's always one of these things. You're just like, okay, yeah, everybody here is great, and most of these people should be on this list. But the number, the idea that you would have. At one point, you're looking down, you're like, okay, yeah, Jeff Beck, of course he's on there. David Gilmour, of course he's on there. Yeah, B.B. King, of course he's on there. And then Dimebag Darrell. Okay, great guitarist, no doubt about it. Nothing against him, but I just like, okay, Beck, Page, Clapton, Dimebag? Really?
Yeah. Huh. Dime should probably be 50-ish or 40th or somewhere in there, not 13 or whatever he is.
But again, nowhere on the list, Malcolm Young, the rhythm guitarist of all time. It just makes me crazy.
The one that stands out the most to me, and you know what? Our guy Prince has two staunch defenders in this room.
Sure.
You two.
Of course.
Right? I've never been a raging Prince fan. Loads of respect. Mm-hmm. But to put him 5 is, I think, almost absurd. And what's funny is that everything that's written below him talks about how he's probably the greatest ever. And they have him 5. And I'm not even saying he should be 5, and I'm not even saying he should be 1. Mm-hmm. But 5 is low. I think Tony Iommi? Sure, the guy was great. Eddie Van Halen? I I think Prince is...
By the way, also, Eddie Van Halen, I love his playing. I love his rhythm playing. Solos are solos. They all sound the same. He had also an amazing right hand. Okay. Eddie gets so much credit for that left hand. His right hand was the magic sauce.
Oh, man.
That's a drummer talking, granted.
Right.
But, man, as a rhythm player, I would listen to Van Halen and think, that's a guy I would love to play with.
I want to hear the solos.
See, that's like
I do love his solos.
Oh, yeah, nothing against them.
Is too high, though? Is too high for him?
Man.
Second greatest of all time?
651-989.
2 is low for Eddie.
You think 2 is low?
Yeah.
651-989-ROCK. Kay texted in my top 5. And 5-1. Santana, Page, Clapton, Stevie Ray, and Hendrix.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the Morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.